pleasure and an honor to speak here. And since you've given away your age, am I the first person that's younger than speech recognition to actually present? I don't know, but thank you for that. It's great to be the evolution of the speech researcher, as I think you called the presenters in this session. So I'm glad to be here. I'm very excited to be here. And when I joined CMU in 2006, it was also winter, 2008, sorry. The winter of 2008, it was the financial crisis. But when I joined in January 2000, that time, my wife said, if it's always as cold, I'm leaving. So I'm very lucky that she stayed with me, and we spent 11 wonderful years at Carnegie Mellon. And the nicest thing that this environment gave to me was that when we joined in this brutal winter, people said, oh, you're back. And I said, I'd never been to CMU before. I graduated in Karlsruhe and I'd been visiting, but I was never at CMU. But when I joined, they said, it's so good to have you back. So thank you all for creating this kind of environment. I'm still faculty. My last graduate student is about to propose. Very excited. What I'm going to talk about today is sort of the story of my work, making speech processing complicated, incredibly easy, and now complicated again. So I started doing speech recognition with articulatory features, as I said, with Alex Weibel in Karlsruhe. And this was really at the back end of neural networks for speech recognition. They were no longer popular. They were nice and easy to understand, but they wouldn't work, and you shouldn't touch this stuff. So everybody was doing hidden Markov models, Gaussians, and I wanted to go beyond the beats on a string model of speech. And so during decoding, what my thesis work was that, hey, couldn't we distinguish house and mouse or king and queen by just looking at individual phonetic features and say, oh, is this a fricative or a nasal? Shouldn't this be enough to do speech recognition? And if you look at sort of a plot that I copied from my thesis, you can easily see where there's fricatives and where there's labial sounds. And couldn't we integrate this stuff in a HMM-based speech recognizer? And of course you can. You can build a multi-stream recognizer, and you can learn stream weights discriminatively on a lattice. And then this was all very popular technology at the time, and it did work, and it did work really beautifully on hyperarticulated speech when speech patterns change so that binary articulatory or phonetic distinctions become important. It worked on cross-lingual ASR, but it's just really complicated, and I don't recommend you use it. So that's what I've learned since finishing my PhD and coming to Carnegie Mellon. And so one of the high points of my career here was that I discovered connectionist temporal classification, which wasn't something that I had invented, but suddenly we could do speech recognition with a sequence training criterion rather than a frame-based criterion and putting HMMs on top of it. And so what we did was we figured out how this could be easily integrated into WFST decoding, much more efficient, much simpler than existing approaches. And so speech recognition suddenly looks like this. You get a phone sequence and you can pretty much read off the word sequence from the phones. Pork belly. Yes. so I thought that was beautiful, and that's what I discovered at Carnegie Mellon. And so for a few months or weeks, I was very happy. And a certain paper, Listen, Attend, and Spell, was a class project in my speech class, and I thought, oh, this is also beautiful. But of course, it couldn't last. We built speech recognizers that using CTC suddenly were much, much easier to train. So this is a Caldi recipe of the time, and this is this Eason recipe, and it's much, much shorter. You don't need context-dependent states anymore. After I'd done PhD thesis on training context-dependent stream weights, you don't need this stuff anymore. Just do this, do end-to-end speech recognition, and it works just as well. But so think the two big things that I got to spend time on, of course, at CMU was DARPA projects or IARPA projects. And in my case, it was Babel for low resource speech recognition, and Aladdin, which was video retrieval with Alex Hauptmann and many collaborators here at CMU. And that gave me more ideas to do things beyond speech recognition. But when I got into speech, my approach was, well, my first degree was in physics. How hard can speech recognition be? It's not all robotics, it's physics. And so now I was a speech researcher and said, well, videos is just a time series. I should just do it. And so I got into multimedia summarization. Today I'm using the skills that I've learned to recommend short form videos to users at Metze in New York. So I've become a customer of speech recognition, but I do get to still collaborate with CMU students to do masked autoencoders that listen. So we do sound event recognition using techniques that we've learned at CMU. And I'm very excited about that work and very thankful to Carnegie Mellon for giving me the opportunity to do this and work with the people here. Last thing I want to mention, Carnegie Mellon also gave me an opportunity to co-found a company that still exists in doing medical summarization. So if you're saying, oh, he's throwing away his talents on recommending short form videos, I've also tried to do something truly useful to improve healthcare by making it easier to document doctor-patient conversations and summarize the information from that. So thank you, Carnegie Mellon. Thank you.